Everybody, we're back with another book for this week, and I wanted to share with you This Is Not My Hat by Jon Klassen. I'm not sure if you have ever encountered any of his work, but this is just a phenomenal example of what we're talking about when we mention postmodern picture books. This was also the Caldecott winner for that year, so very special. And as you know, I'm going to go ahead and remove the dust jacket for the purpose of reading. Underneath, though, there are no surprises. We have the same cover. Okay, this is what the end papers look like. And I got really lucky. I got a signed edition. I actually got it from Barnes& and Noble. So that's one thing. Jon Klassen, we have yet to meet, but I'm sure we will one day. It's by Candlewick Press. Got lucky enough to get a holiday edition that was already signed. This hat is not mine. I just stole it. I stole it from a big fish. He was asleep when I did it. And he probably won't wake up for a long time. And even if he does wake up, he probably won't notice it's gone. And even if he does notice that it's gone, he probably won't know it was me who took it. And even if he does guess it was me, he won't know where I'm going. I think he knows. But I will tell you where I'm going. I am going to where the plants grow big and tall and close together. It is very hard to see in there. Nobody will ever find me. There's someone who saw me already, but he said he wouldn't tell anyone which way I went. So I am not worried about that. I know it's wrong to steal a hat, but I know it does not belong to me, but I'm going to keep it. It was too small for him anyway. It fits me just right. And look, I made it, where the plants are big and tall and grow close together. I knew I was going to make it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Nobody will ever find me. And that's the end of the book. So one thing I really love about this book, and this is why I call it a postmodern picture book, because so you've got some asymmetrical things happening here with the text and with what's actually happening in the illustration. So we talked about how picture books, are telling two stories at one time, right? So the words are saying one story while the pictures are telling another story completely. And so we're seeing that in this example here. We only get the story from one point of view, and as we can see that point of view is not trustworthy, and that is why it's postmodern as well. for that same reason. So we see this narrator that's describing what he's done, and he says, you know what? He probably won't wake up for a really long time after I took his hat. And we can see in the picture that there's a different reality that's going on. So we know at this point that not only is the narrator dishonest because he stole the hat, right? So he's really not trustworthy, but he's also not trustworthy as a narrator because he's narrating something that he doesn't realize what's happening. And so I just love how we get the juxtaposed perspectives here and how that suits to really make a really cute, entertaining story. Even if he does wake up, he probably won't notice that it's gone, right? And so we get this kind of naivete in the character, and I think that that really does kind of capture this childhood essence quite well. If he does notice that it's gone, he's not going to know that it's me who took it. And we can tell just by these very slight changes in the expression of the eye alone, just brilliant illustrating that we can in fact see that the fish knows. The big fish knows. There's no doubt about that. He doesn't know where I'm going. I love this book for starting conversations with young children about what is actually happening. See, what is actually happening is what's pictured, but that's not what's being said. So then it falls upon the reader, right? It falls upon the children that you're reading to in order to help complete that story. And in the end, you know, we hear quite a bit from this narrator. Nobody will ever find me. The crab who saw it won't say anything, so I'm not worried about that. He totally gives him up. He's a rat. This crab could not care less about telling on this little fish. And so once we see that, he says, I'm going to swim where the plants are big and tall and close together. I knew that I was going to make it. There he goes swimming in. And then we see the big fish close behind. Now here's the problem. After he goes into where the plants go close together, he says, nobody will ever find me in here. Feels like a safe space. That also feels very childlike as well, to crawl into like a small space for protection. We see the big fish going in. And as you know, big fish eat little fish. And so we can't hear anything else about what's going on in here. We're only able to see because that's the only visual story that we get from the pictures. And then we see the big fish swimming out. We see the crab watching him swim away, wondering what's going on. And he knows what's going on because, uh-oh, he's got his hat. And we don't hear anything else from the narrator because he's probably in that big fish's belly, right? He probably got eaten by the big fish. And before he ate him, the big fish definitely took his hat back. And now we're left with the in sheets. So it's just a really clever way of telling the story. And that's why I chose this one. I wanted you to see something that was a little bit outside of the box, postmodern picture book. I also use The Stinky Cheese Man to talk about postmodernism in picture books. It was one of the first wonderful examples, but I've used it so much, and it's such a popular tale. If you have not seen that book, I would definitely recommend you check it out. But I'm going to actually use another book to talk about the way picture books work and postmodernism in picture books. So stay tuned.